Hello all, today we have Mr. Blessan, Law Optional Faculty at Offices IAS Academy. So, Blessan sir has done his undergraduation in IIT Kharagpur and has done the post-graduation in National Law School, Bangalore. Sir has been mentoring civil service aspirants for the last 5 years. In this video, we will be discussing the scope of law as an optional subject in civil services mains examination. Hello, sir.
Hello, thanks Guna for the intro.
Yes, sir. So when I think about law as a optional subject for civil services, what comes to my mind, even every fresher will be having this feeling that whether the syllabus for law optional, whether is it similar with what the law graduates study for 5 years in their undergraduation, whether it is going to be the similar one or is there any separate curated syllabus crafted by UPSC? So can you give us some brief idea about the syllabus?
So, with regard to syllabus, I would say the law students are very lucky because there are two kinds of laws usually students study in colleges. One is substantive law and procedural law. Procedural law is where students go to the court and do the practice and procedures. UPSC luckily has done away with the procedural law. You need not study procedural law at all. So anybody, any law graduates who have done their thing, they know how tough is procedural law. But in UPSC, there is no procedural law. There are two papers in law optional, just like other subjects. Paper one contains fully constitutional law and international law. So any UPSC students would know how important is constitutional law. So constitutional law covers around 40% of the syllabus, which is helpful for the GS as well. So this is very basic. So constitutional law is one part which everyone has to study. The other is international law. Again, international law is also very important. There's lots of overlap in GS. So these two things they will study. Apart from that, there are core law subjects like torts, contracts, and criminal law, which there may not be much overlap with the GS, but these are very limited portions. So, in terms of say, students for preparing for UPSC, what I would say is UPSC has a very limited syllabus. There is no procedural law at all.
Okay.
So, in that sense, it will be a very easier option for
Okay.
them.
Okay. So in that case, roughly how much time it will take for a fresher? Let us see. The freshers will come from different subject backgrounds. So how much time it will take for a fresher to complete this syllabus for the exam? So how much time you will be taking to complete this classroom coaching, and how much time as a student I have to spend to cover this law as an optional?
Well, every student has their own way of studying, but generally, on an average, it shouldn't take more than 3 months. So, I will be taking 180 to 200 hours of class. But if a student can put each day 2 hours per day, he would be able to complete the syllabus in 3 months of time.
Okay.
So, this is for the general people. So, everyone's rate of reading
Understood.
differs,
Yes.
but it's going to be 3 months.
Yes. So along with the classroom coaching, whether you will be providing any material support, or is it along with that material support, is it required to purchase some reference materials from the market?
I will be giving 8 books, 8 sets of books, which is very limited. Each book will contain around 100 to 200 pages. That's it. If they study this is more than enough. They do not need to buy any additional books because when it comes to law, the books in the outside markets are usually for lawyers or for the students who are in law school. So
Okay.
that is not necessary. Like I said, the syllabus is very limited. So my materials is more than sufficient. Other than that, they can usually they can have their own googling, checking in internet. That is sufficient.
So I see a lot of students have an impression that after attending the classroom program and doing their basic preparation, they have an impression that they can go and manage the mains exam directly. So I see a lot of students skipping the answer writing part. So with respect to law optional, can you tell me how important is taking up tests?
Taking up test is the most important thing. No one should skip the test. So like I said, UPSC doesn't give you any specific thing. They just generalize the syllabus, but we can only find out the methodology of the examiner from the previous year questions and test. So it is very important that they attempt the test. This is the most crucial thing. So skipping the test, which I would not at all advise. So attending the class and then writing the test series will season a student to get maximum out of their preparation into the marks, because once you score the maximum chunk of marks in your optional, then I think it's halfway down the
Yes.
line.
So roughly how many tests you'll be providing for the students?
We will be giving more than 20 tests that
Okay.
will be given each and every day. I will also, in the classroom, we will be having question and answer writing practices based on what the UPSC has asked before.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, in your experience, can you just let me know what are all the struggles, the challenges which the student faces during the course of law optional preparation? Because everybody has some impression. Once they jump into the actual preparation, they come up with some certain set of challenges. So can you give that idea?
Yeah, exactly. Because when the student, when they look at the optional subject, they might be excited. But once they get into that, when they see the real theory part, there might be some challenges. So general perception with law is, most people ask me is whether we should be remembering lots of case laws, whether we must be remembering lot of citations, etc. Luckily, you need not remember any case laws. There are very general case laws, which is normal. It's like a very normal thing. But what are the challenges is how to reproduce those case laws in the answers. That is how, because every case law, if you look, there will be certain specific facts and circumstances. The challenge would be how to reproduce in a manner that is efficient for you to get marks. So this is the challenge that I have seen. So like I said, if you're practicing enough questions, if you're attending a case class, these challenges is going to be very easy for anybody to tackle.
From a layman's perspective, so when I think about lawyers, court, judges, the language which they use is actually a little complex. It is I'm finding it difficult to comprehend what is their actual
Yeah.
information they are trying to
Yeah.
convey.
Yeah.
So whether the law optional subject will also have that similar language complexity, or what is the role of language in law optional?
Yeah, role of language is very important. Especially, you need to have a very proficient standards in English.
No.
Suppose there are students who wanted to take their examinations, or who wanted to be very good in their local languages or regional languages, I have to say. So you have to have a fair standard command over English. I'm not saying you should be in Oxford or Cambridge level. Fair standard command of English is very essential. Apart from that, you need not worry about those extra Latin terms, certain things which you see in general legal opinions or judgments. That is not going to be of big hamper, but a fair, reasonable standards of English is very essential.
Okay. So now I want to know who can choose law as an optional subject. Of course, it goes without saying, people from law background, it should be their obvious choice, natural choice. But apart from that, you know, people from which subject background, they can opt for law as the optional.
Like I said, English is the base. If you have a very good command over this language, I'm not saying extreme good command, like you need to be like Oxford or not, but fairly good command over this language, you can take law optional. Because anybody, if you look at the courses available in the market, it is usually BA LLB. So
Okay.
any arts programs, you can take law, or BBA LLB. If you're good at commerce, maths, you can also take law. But you should have a very good affinity towards the language. That is the only thing. Otherwise, there's not going to be any complexity. It is not like other extra special scientific subjects where you have to put the scientific things into it. If you are very good in these subjects, you can take law. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay. So when I look into other social sciences, based optional subjects, I see some amount of relevance in the GS papers. So when I prepare for those optionals, I can see some overlap in the GS papers, both prelims and mains. So what about law optional? Whether it is also having such relevance in GS?
Uh, the 70 percentage of the law syllabus overlaps with GS. The entire GS2 paper is the paper one of law.
Okay.
That is constitutional law plus international law. So, except the core law subjects, which forms around 30% of the syllabus, like torts, contract, crime, the 70% of syllabus has overlapped with GS. Constitutional law fully you will be studying, international law, and even the upcoming latest current affairs, everything is related to law. Say, for instance, reproductive rights, or for instance, patents, technological developments, competitions, competition acts. All these things is relevant over law. So you can be very sure that the second paper, GS paper, and science and technology, environment, all these things are law. Because if you take a look at climate change, All these things are law, environmental perspectives, environmental law. So 70% overlaps with the GS. Rest 30 is course or law subjects for which you will not have anything in
Okay,
GS.
okay. So when we go through the syllabus,
Yeah, you can see.
students can also get an understanding that that is
Yeah.
a relevant,
Right.
Right, right. So now, when a student decides to choose law as an optional subject, for that student, what kind of hand-holding will be providing till their result?
So there are two kinds of law students that I have encountered. One is the core law students, and the other is the general students who has affinity towards law or who likes to study law. They usually take this subject. For the core law students, my first advice would be to ensure how they prepare in a way that UPSC expects them. So they should not bring the entire thing they study in their law here and write answers. So some specific ways in which I'll modify them, give them complete support in how to write answers, what the UPSC expects. For other students who are fresh towards law, there will be initially for 30 days how to get into the habit of reading this law, what ought to be read, how to write answers. So all this support will be given to them, and the most important thing would be connecting the law subjects that they study with the GS and also writing answers. This will be then, and like I said, I'll give 8 books, which is completely catered to the UPSC syllabus and answer making.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for
Yeah.
giving us a comprehensive view on law as an optional subject. It was nice to have a conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for giving this opportunity.